Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please ignite the subscribe button and please enable notifications. That would be your vote of confidence in me and all the efforts that go into this channel behind the scenes. If you don't know who I am, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. In this video, I'll give you a few most surprising statistics about what I call the two Americas. There are essentially two Americas. I'm not just talking about a red America and a blue America. I just want to be clear. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. But it's very clear when we look at a zip code analysis, and I have done that in another video, when we look at a zip code analysis of support for President Trump. Hello, President Trump. And former Vice President Joe Biden. There he is. Hello, former Vice President Joe Biden. When you look at the zip codes across the country, you can see that there are fundamentally two Americas. Let's take a look at a fascinating chart on your screen, which shows you the amount raised by day in millions. This actually shows you how the amount of money that has been raised by the Republican administration and by by former Vice President Joe Biden, how the money flow has actually evolved. And on this chart, you'll see the portions in red, and those surges in red represent surges in money coming in to help the re-election campaign. Let's take a look at the red portion. You can see there was a surge on the president's birthday. This was right at the end of June, and you can see that there was a surge when President Trump spoke at the Republican National Convention. This was right at the end of August. So you can start to see that there was a surge for the president then, and there was also a surge for the president after the first presidential debate. But there was also a substantial surge for former Vice President Joe Biden after the first presidential debate. So now let's take a look at what happened in terms of the amount raised by day in millions for former Vice President Joe Biden. You can see that there was a big surge, a huge surge for former Vice President Joe Biden when Senator Kamala Harris from California was named as a vice presidential pick by former Vice President Joe Biden. And then you can see there were some surges after that. In fact, there was a pretty decent surge in terms of fundraising for former Vice President Joe Biden before and after President Trump spoke at the Republican National Convention. And you can see there was a big surge, a bigger surge for former Vice President Joe Biden than President Trump after the first presidential debate. And even more recently, looking at more recent data, you'll see that there has been a greater surge in terms of total amount of money raised for former Vice President Joe Biden compared to President Trump when it comes to re-election. This data was sourced from the Federal Election Commission, and I'll provide you with the link in the description section below to this incredible New York Times article that provides you with this data. So definitely check out I strongly recommend that you read the entire article. Now, this is where things get even more fascinating. On your screen, you'll see some statistics about the amount of money raised in millions by median household income. Okay, by median household income of zip codes. So you can see that for individuals who earned less than $100,000 a year, this is the bottom of this graphic. Individuals earning less than $100,000 a year, $565 million donations to President Trump for his re-election from, let's just say, less wealthy zip codes. Although $100,000 is a good deal of money. Yes, I know it's not a lot of money in some states like New York, for example, and California, but from less wealthy zip codes, $565 million to President Trump and $581 million to former Vice President Joe Biden. Almost neck and neck, but check this out. For individuals earning more than $100,000 a year, overwhelming support, almost 3:1 for former Vice President Joe Biden, $486 million to former Vice President Joe Biden from wealthier zip codes, and $167 million to President Trump from the wealthier zip codes. Now, I guess I should say Trump and Biden, but I'm just so used to, speaking about all our officials with respect. I know that on other YouTube channels you'll go Trump, Biden, but it honestly doesn't come naturally to me to say Trump and Biden. I always say President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden, and it's just a habit for me because I want to speak with, for me, the presidency and the election has a higher meaning, has a higher significance than the incumbent or the challenger. That's just the way I look at it. But I appreciate your patience with that. So again, let's take a look at this one more time. Amount raised in millions by median household income of zip codes. Just fascinating when we look at it. Now, this is even more fascinating. Let's look at the amount raised in millions by education level of zip codes. Check this out. So by education level of zip codes. Now, let's take a look at, I quote, the less educated zip codes. Former Vice President Joe Biden, $591 million, okay? And President Trump, $630 million. Almost neck and neck again, but in more highly educated zip codes, former Vice President Joe Biden, almost 5 times as much fundraising from, I quote, more highly educated zip codes, almost 5 times as much fundraising for former Vice President Joe Biden compared to President Trump. Unbelievable. So in other words, individuals who have, college degrees, more highly educated, are essentially rooting for former Vice President Joe Biden. Just fascinating when we look at some of these statistics. Now, I do want to be clear, President Trump did lose the money race, the fundraising race in 2016 compared to Hillary Clinton, but President Trump had indeed mobilized a base of white working class voters that then offset his losses among college educated voters. Now he's trying to, the president is trying to use that to his advantage to win re-election. But, one way or another, we're starting to see a pretty significant realignment in the way things stand. And again, let's put up the chart on your screen that shows you the amount raised in millions by median household income. So in zip codes with them, and you can see this on your screen. And basically what this chart shows you is that in zip codes with a median household income of at least $100,000, former Vice President Joe Biden beat President Trump's efforts in fundraising, $487 million to only $167 million. That's pretty much his entire financial edge as far as former Vice President Joe Biden is concerned. In the rest of the country, the two were, pretty close together. Now let's put that graphic back with the amount raised in millions by education level by zip code. Let's take a look at that one more time. Of the zip codes where at least 65% of people had graduated from college, that's just over 1,000 zip codes out of 32,000 populated zip codes that indeed report donations. Former Vice President Joe Biden outraised President Trump $478 million to $104 million. Below that education level, President Trump was ahead by $40 million. As you can see on your screen, President Trump raised $630 million from, I quote, less educated zip codes. And former Vice President Joe Biden raised $591 million compared to President Trump's tally of $630 million in these less educated zip codes. Now, I do want to be clear, the median household income in the United States was $68,703 in 2019. Again, the median household income in the United States was $68,703 in 2019. In zip codes above that level, former Vice President Joe Biden outraised President Trump by $389 million. And below that level, President Trump was actually ahead by $53.4 million. And now if we dig deeper, we'll see that the most lopsided state in former Vice President Joe Biden's favor is Massachusetts, with more than 5 times as much money in Massachusetts. That's $55.7 million more going to the Democrats than the Republicans. The most Republican-leaning state for donations was Mississippi, with nearly 4 times as much money, $4.9 million going to President Trump. And in terms of dollars, President Trump's greatest advantage comes from, can you guess? The state of Texas. That netted $48.3 million more than former Vice President Joe Biden, while former Vice President Joe Biden's money came from California, $167 million more than President Trump. In fact, former Vice President Joe Biden's entire edge financially over President Trump can come down to 4 states, believe it or not. These 4 states are California, New York, Massachusetts, and Washington. Quite fascinating. California, New York, Massachusetts, and Washington accounted for pretty much the entire financial edge that former Vice President Joe Biden has over President Trump. So This is where things stand right now, everybody. You'll find a link in the description section below to this entire article. Let me know what you think of this fascinating data. I think it is a precursor of where we are headed on November 3rd, because if you're giving someone money, it means you're supporting that person and you're going to vote for that person. It's pretty much as simple as that. Let me know again what you think in the comment section below. You'll find a link to the article in the description section below. If you learned something new from this video, please share this video with friends and family. That would be your vote of confidence in me and all the efforts that go into this channel behind the scenes. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I really appreciate you watching. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. You can get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. Now, you can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all I ask you to do is in your browser, bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you can visit the homepage of our channel and watch the videos at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time because we release exclusive content specifically on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is the same. It's also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So follow us on Twitter as well. Once again, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. You'll find the links to all our resources in the description section below. So definitely check them out. Please comment if you want to engage with our community, because our community is growing very, very rapidly. Please share this video with friends and family. That would be your vote of confidence in me and my team and all the effort that goes into this channel behind the scenes. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, please ignite the subscribe button, because remember, the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.